we go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
9:06 a.m.
I love it.
What day is it? Thursday?
It is Thursday. It was supposed to be snowy and it's not.
Camp got 8 inches.
Really? In the south?
Stonington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I was okay not waking up to 24 inches of snow.
Yeah. I'm kind of bummed. I wish it hit us here because we're going to camp for spring break. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
So you're what? We're talking about it 2.5 weeks in?
2.5, yeah. This will be the end of my third week.
So how's it been?
It's good. It's good. It's, I think any job that transition is always a challenge. You're the one that doesn't quite know what's going on, right?
Sure.
And you're not supposed to, right? Mm-hmm. I'm right where I'm supposed to be, but I don't like that feeling. I enjoy knowing what I'm talking about or what everybody's talking about and being part of the picture. So
doesn't everybody? Yeah.
So it takes time, and I have to give myself some grace to allow myself to go through the cycle. I think a full year cycle here is probably what it's going to take for me to truly understand the organization in a bigger way.
Well, let's ask Mark.
1 year?
1 year. Yeah, I would say 1 year.
And Mark just came upon his 1 year. So you're just now feeling settled.
Yeah, we moved to the UP a year ago this week.
Wow.
Sunday.
Right. Your first official day was April 1st, right?
Correct.
April Fool's Day.
No, sure.
Yeah, I think a year is a fair timeline.
Yeah.
When I was at Cisco, I know we used to tell new salespeople, or MAs as they were called, it's like you're not going to feel like you have any idea what you're doing for probably a year.
Yeah.
That can be very unsettling for some people.
It's tough. It's
Sure.
tough. But in the meantime, I've been able to work on some really great projects in my 3 weeks here, which has been really great.
Yeah. Why don't you cover some of that? What are you working on?
Yeah. Well, we released the first newsletter,
Yep.
which is right up my alley, writing, interviewing, talking to people. So that felt really good. And I think probably the biggest project that I have right now is this video.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that, because this has not really been shared publicly.
Yeah.
So this will be like a little teaser.
Okay. Well, and I honestly didn't know about the video until the first day on the job.
Until you walked in the front door. It's like, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And my eyes kind of lit up like, oh, wow. Okay. So obviously I've done a lot of editing. I've done a lot of storytelling, but day one, you were like, here's a project, a video project. We want to tell the story of 906 Adventure Team kind of through the eyes of Margie and a participant, but on the full picture of how it all ties together and how, at least this is my take of it, right? Of how somebody racing in Margie impacts the whole organization, and how it is so equal to a kid at Adventure Team doing the hard things. It's all parallel in some way.
Sure it is.
And
absolutely it is.
And then mix in losing Tara, coming back from that, rallying as a community. It's a big story to tell. So I am wrapping my arms around that currently and trying to figure out how to tell that story to somebody who's never heard of this organization, so that when they're done viewing it, they go, oh, I know what it's about. And that's incredible.
Yeah. And, I want to add, so the impetus for this was actually at the end of 2023, when I was kind of looking down the road, looking ahead as we were going into our 10-year anniversary. And I'm not usually one to be celebrating milestones.
Yeah.
Because I just want to keep knocking down barriers, checking boxes, getting stuff done, keeping things rolling.
Yep.
But we did put some time into planning. And I think that there's really a great story here, which I'm sure you're going to capture, because the story that we're going to end up telling about last year is not the story we thought we had.
Right.
And there is a life lesson in that, because everybody in the world has a story. And your story doesn't always go the way you thought it would.
I'd say most times it doesn't.
I would agree with that. Like in basketball right now, we're working with a bunch of 14U and 13U kids. And what we're trying to convey to them is that 95% of the basketball game is played without the ball. And that's an important note because most of the time, if the kids don't have the ball, they just stand around.
Sure.
Right? You got to be moving when you don't have the ball. I'd correlate over to life and say it's similar in that things don't go to plan. Things aren't always going well, and you need to keep moving.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people sort of get kind of locked down when things don't go well, and they lose their momentum.
Yeah.
You got to maintain momentum. So anyway, yeah, there's stories to tell.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a twist in the plot.
Well, and I think so many people, I hear it all the time where I just got to get my life together, right? I just got to get over this hurdle.
Right.
I got to just make it through this. And then this one thing, and then everything's going to fall in line. It doesn't work that way. You get through the one hurdle and, here comes another, right? It's a constant ride. And I think now that I'm older, wiser perhaps, felt that over the years. Once you can embrace that and just go along on the ride and do your best through it, sure gets a lot easier.
I put a post up this morning. I was reflecting back to Mark and I when we did the Ride Around the UP Project Ventress, and this is similar to what we're talking about here. I ended the post with, you should prepare for the worst and expect the worser.
Yeah.
And that is life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, things are not going to get better after this one thing.
Yeah.
That you're going to get past that one thing, and then there's going to be more hurdles. So where I'm going with that is, I think that people, just for whatever reason, I think we downplay how bad things might get, and we underestimate how hard it's going to be. And then if your plan is underestimating the difficulty that's ahead of you, you're constantly playing from a point of disappointment and recovery. If you just plan for things to be really tough and really, really bad, then it just feels like it's part of the plan.
Yeah.
And you can kind of smile and be like, well, I'm on track.
And that's where the lessons and the growth happen, right? In those harder moments, in the ones that test you and push you. I think those are the areas that I've made the most gains in myself. And I'm grateful for them in that way, right? I wouldn't be who I am today without some of those struggles and those hard times. And in the moment, it was kind of like, why is this happening right now? And then a year later, you can go back and go, oh, well, that's probably why. And here's what I learned from it, and here's how I came out of it.
There's a kid on the 14U team. He's got tons of potential. He's actually really good, just as is. First couple of practices, I noticed that every time he gets the ball, if he's wide open, he hesitates. He doesn't shoot the ball. He'll pause and he'll either pass it or he makes a ball move one way or the other, which allows the defense time to close in on him. Then he's defended. Now he doesn't have a shot. So I was talking to him about it after practice, and I said, here's what I see. You're getting opportunities and you're hesitating. You can't hesitate. And I said, why are you hesitating? And he says, I don't want to miss. So we've talked through that, but yesterday he happened to be at the PEEF. A bunch of the kids from the team were practicing. I was just sitting there working. But I called him over and I said, I haven't told you this, but I want you to know that when you get the shot, you have to take the shot, because the window of opportunity for taking shots is finite. It closes quickly. And you're too young to know this, so I'm just going to tell you that the number one ingredient in success is failure. You're going to miss more shots than you make, but you got to take them. Yeah. And that's what this is about. I want to ask you a question. We're going to ask this to Mark, too, here in about a week.
Oh, I can't wait.
But both of you have, late in life, made a significant career change. Your paths are a little different. Mark, how long had you been at the previous company?
32 years.
Okay, so he'd been there 32 years. I think that's a major adjustment for somebody to all of a sudden, at 50, 51, take a 180 and uproot his and his wife's life and move away from family. Like, that's huge. It's a major change for you, though, too, coming from what you were doing. You were extremely established within what you were doing. You were successful. You're winning awards. How's Has there been any point since you left and came in where you're nervous? I'm just curious. Like, I think it's important to share this kind of stuff because most people out there, if we can get this in front of people, they will nod their head when we talk about this and kind of call out like, it seems crazy to do it.
Yeah.
If you're in a good spot and you're comfortable and succeeding, why would you risk it all?
Yeah.
Talk to that.
Okay. Well, sure. There's some nervousness in making the change because you're right. I could have stayed where I was at probably for as long as I wanted to. I was comfortable there. It was easy to do. Not easy, but it was a routine and I had it down kind of.
You had the rhythm.
I had the rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then I'm coming in now to something that I really believe in, which feels really good. That fills a part of me that I think I need right now, to do something that aligns a little bit more with who I am. Mm-hmm. However, this is also a job where we're not 100% on the expectation of the job. I have a guideline. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you presented me with a piece of paper with bullets. And by the end of 3 months, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. 6 months, this, a year, you're going to show up and this is going to be, and this right. is what success is going to look like for you.
Sure.
It's not really how it works here. And I've talked to my daughter a little bit about this because she's like, are you nervous? And I'm like, I'm nervous in the sense, like, I don't want to let anybody down. Mm-hmm. I don't want to let myself down. I want to come here after a year and feel like, yeah, I made a difference. I made an impact. Mm-hmm. I nailed it. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know what that looks like 100%. So I know what it looks like to me, diving mm-hmm. into each project, diving into the mission. But in the bigger scope, what will that look like after a year? What will I have to show for that? And that's a little nerve-wracking. When I worked at TV6, it was I had a product at the end of every day, right? We created a newscast, something to hold on to. I told stories that were packaged into these nice videos that I could hold on to, and this is what I did. This, I think, will be a little bit different. It might take some time to see some of that come to fruition. Mm-hmm. And there will be some, let's try this. And there'll be some moments where we tried it and it didn't work, mm-hmm. right? And we tried it and let's do it again. That one felt good. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I like that challenge. I think it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me moving. Keeps my brain firing, right? Always mm-hmm. working. But there is a level of uncertainty, which is exciting and scary at the same time.
It makes sense. You had measurable results almost at the end of every day.
Yeah.
You could go home and you could look back and be like, I did that.
Yeah.
And you had feedback directly, immediately.
Yep.
Socially.
Yep.
From people commenting or following the stories. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never really thought about like the day-to-day. I don't get too concerned in the day-to-day what's being accomplished because it's always about, it's a Stephen Covey reference, beginning with the end in mind. And I know that our overarching mission is to empower people through outdoor adventure. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds super simple and cliche, but that is essentially what drives me every day. As long as what we're doing is in alignment with pushing the mission forward and reaching more people, which are the things that you've done in the last 2.5 weeks. Ultimately, that is what you're doing. That's what it's aimed at.
Yeah.
Because our goal bringing you in, though, the day-to-day checklist of each task is not clear. What we want you to do is community engagement. We want to expand the understanding of what the organization is and does, mm-hmm. or even just here in Marquette County, the fact that it exists, because it is crazy. I think I was sharing this with you yesterday.
Yeah.
One of the schools in the West End last year saw you and I talking on the morning show or UMT, Had no idea. She works in a school, secretary at a school.
Yeah.
Had no idea that 906 Adventure Team exists. We've been here 11 years. That blows me away. You can never talk about what you do and why you do it too much.
Agreed.
You cannot.
Agreed.
I mean, think about how many times we talked about 906 Adventure Team.
I know I got razzled a lot for having you on so much.
I bet you did. I got razzed for being on.
But it's so true. Because how many people are we capturing at that moment that are truly checked in, that are absorbing what we're saying? I think it's probably smaller than we realize. It feels so big sometimes.
Yes.
But there's just so many people to capture, and you want to, and this is one of those organizations. I want everyone to know about it. But yeah, you have to just be repetitive in that. And it feels sometimes like, oh, here we go again. Okay, you're having Todd on again.
Well,
but
attention is fleeting. And we talked about it. Like I don't know how they measure viewership in what you used to do, but just because a television is tuned in, it doesn't mean that the people on that other end of that channel are paying attention.
Right.
We talked about cable. My youngest, every morning he walks in, 6:50, 7 a.m., turns on ESPN. Mm-hmm. 98% of what is said during that telecast before he leaves with Stacy, he doesn't hear it. The only thing he hears is the top 10 plays.
Yeah.
He will stop and pay attention to that.
Yep.
So, yeah, people, too many things are vying for attention.
Yep.
And you might catch crap for featuring it. I might catch crap for going on. And that also is part of life. Like if you're passionate about something and you believe in it, and how could you not believe in what we do? Where we literally are completely dedicated to simply helping people become more independent and realizing their full potential. That's our mission. Mm-hmm. Julie talked about at the end of every year, she wants the kids to not need her.
Yeah.
That's a super, super crazy thought, I think, to a lot of people. Because I think that a lot of adults like to think that kids need us.
Yeah.
Our mission is that. Mm-hmm. It's to help people get to a point that they don't need us.
Yeah.
So that they can be independent, autonomous, successful on their own. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Most teams, they want to trap you on the team, and they're upset if you leave their team.
Yeah.
It's not that we want you to leave the team, but we want you to not need the team.
Yeah.
Except maybe in those times in life when something really bad happens or you need somebody to step in and pick you up. Mm-hmm. That's when the team's there.
Yeah.
But the expectation is you need to get ready to get back on your own, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday too, that entails letting kids go through the hard things themselves, not making it so easy, not creating
yes.
There's so many times where we want to create comfort for people and ease their day or ease, and there may be times where that's helpful, but there's also times where that is actually doing more harm than good by not allowing them to learn what's inside of themselves so that the next time something hard happens, they can pick themselves up and do it.
Yeah, if they're not experiencing hard stuff regularly, they are going to experience a lot of disappointment. I think that their mental health is going to suffer. Mm-hmm. All of these inputs from social media, especially for kids, they're on their phone looking at it. And whether it's true or not, what they see is everybody out there killing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just crushing life, right?
And it looks easy.
Right.
Right.
And making it look easy. Great point.
Yeah.
No hard stuff.
Right.
Nobody talks about, like, I could probably fill 10 hours of just debriefing on all the hard shit that it has taken to create 906 Adventure Team and hold it to its mission.
Yeah.
And get us to where we are. All people see on the outside is the success. They don't know. They don't know what it was like to get here.
Yeah.
They can't even fathom how many times and opportunities that it was like, I could have just walked away, and you can't, because you have to embrace that as part of the process and realize that is the doorway to the good stuff.
Yeah. And if we don't talk about it, I think people can feel so isolated.
Yep.
Because they don't realize that that hurt or that pain or that struggle, there is someone out there that they can share that with and talk about with. And they're not alone in it. We all go through it. But for some reason, there's been this, let's keep that part quiet. Mm-hmm. Where if we just talk about it, I think we realize we're all more alike than we knew, than we thought.
There's no doubt. And I think that that's really what 906 can help do. I think that some of the storytelling through the newsletter that we're going to do, or that you're going to do, the video that will eventually get out there, let's say late spring-ish, that is the thing we have to get across to people. We're more alike than we realize. You've got a lot of people out there today who they kind of understand how to trigger the tribal behavior, the team behavior. Mm-hmm. It's not an accident that everybody is at odds. Like, there's people at the controls that know what they're doing. If you can just stop participating in that and start seeking the common ground between you and other people, there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And this other stuff that you're arguing about, really, at the end of the day, it's not the real stuff.
Yeah.
It's not the super impactful stuff. I think it's easy to sort of get fixated on national problems, but if we're honest and we're willing to step back and look within our own communities, just within our own communities, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
That's where the work has to be done, because if we do the work in our local home communities, that will eventually start to have an influence over the national community.
Yeah. It starts to spread.
It does. Mm-hmm. It really does.
It's a trickle effect.
So let's talk about your uniform.
Okay. Oh, man. Let's talk about it.
Oh, no, I love it. I love it because this is part of the evolution of Elizabeth.
I'm in an identity crisis.
I know. This is so good.
It's ridiculous.
So we have like one part anchor.
One part anchor.
And we have one part
adventure team. Where are we going with this? Where are we? That is a great question.
Do we need to get like a black blazer that's branded 906 AT?
I would actually love that. Not going to lie. Probably wear it every day.
Should we do that?
Patches.
Oh, it definitely has to have patches. There is absolutely no doubt.
Step one, can we talk about the fact that you guys never get cold? And I'm in here freezing every day. I need to go out in the elements with you guys because we aren't on the same level. So while I typically don't even take my jacket off. I'm like, why am I getting dressed?
Been in here with like a truck and a down jacket.
Yeah, 2 jackets usually. And you guys are like t-shirt. You're like, oh, is it hot in here? I'm like, you guys, what's going on?
69 degrees in here.
I'm warm. I have 2 flannels on right now.
Okay,
I'm cooking.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This one's kind of funny, though.
I'm freezing currently. I took my jacket off for this podcast. I need a blankie.
Speaking of...
bacon. Good.
Pocket bacon.
Pocket bacon.
I didn't have a chance to eat this morning, so...
Okay. As I said, we are all on a little bit of a different page.
Yeah, apologies. You want a piece? I have another one.
I think I'm good. Okay. I think I'm
Mark, you want a piece of bacon?
Good.
I'm good.
Okay.
I've got pockets. Okay.
You know my friend MK?
Yes.
She, during one of the shows that she was co-hosting, UMT, she pulled out pocket cheese. So this is feeling a little too familiar for me.
We need to get MK on here.
That would be a hoot.
Can you imagine her pocket cheese with my pocket bacon?
You guys basically have a charcuterie board.
Unstoppable. Yeah.
Somebody bring in some pickles? I think you have pickles in your pocket.
Mark's got the pickles.
Stop talking about my pocket pickle.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not chasing that one down. I'm going to let that dog run.
Well, you're just going to have to put up with my outfits for a while while I make the adjustment and figure it out. So it's a hard change up.
We love it. You are being you. You're figuring out what the next version of you is, which is fantastic, and you're doing it right in front of our eyes and everybody else. Did you listen to the? I think you did the episode with Julie.
Yes.
Cunningham?
Yeah. I was here. I was a live studio audience.
Oh, that's right. You were in for part of that one. Do you remember the part about prototyping?
Yes. I
This
am.
is the current prototype of Elizabeth.
Should I take a picture every week and so we can watch we'll have physical evidence of how I've evolved?
You absolutely should do that. You should do that weekly on Monday. You should. Prototype, whatever, so you'd be on prototype number 3 right now?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the first day I came in actual, something I would wear on the air. And it was Emily that was like, hey, you don't have to wear that here. You should probably put a 906 gear on. And I was like, okay, well, step 1, get that gear. This was actually one of Sawyer's original bike club shirts. I raided his closet took all his gear from when he was in bike club.
I think we'll have something for you today.
Perfect. I'm ready for it.
Is it here?
It's the rest
gear?
of it's due in today.
Oh,
Is it warm?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Are we talking hoodie?
Hoodie.
Thank goodness.
Hoodie.
I've needed that. I will wear that probably every day now for a couple of weeks.
Mark does.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
It's a staple. What else we want to talk about? Where are we at on time?
26 in.
Okay.
Oh.
So what else we got? Any other musings from your first 2.5 weeks?
No, it's just been a lot of meeting people, trying to figure out where everybody lives, what adventure team they're involved in, how their adventure team kind of learning the background of each city and their adventure team. I've done a lot of research on people, on cities, on companies, just trying to get a grasp on, this is a whole new industry for me in some sense. I've been a participant in the outdoor industry for a long time, but not somebody who works in the outdoor industry, right? So I've done fair share of research, watched videos, and that's been kind of fun, learning people's stories.
There's a lot of them.
A lot of them, yeah. And it's neat to find out people's why and what keeps them ticking towards this organization. And
it was interesting hearing you say that about the outdoor industry. Obviously somebody might look at what we do and say we're in the outdoor industry. Mm-hmm. But for me, I think it's more, I think we're in the people business. Mm-hmm. That's it. We happen to do things outside. That's probably driven by this belief that is, I think that outdoor space has generally been the avenue for human development and evolution. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's super important to not lose touch with physically interacting with the natural space.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest thing that is disconnecting us. Not just us from outdoors, but us from each other.
yeah.
Because all this other stuff, like this building we're sitting in, this microphone, this podcast that's going to go out, this is not real. Mm-hmm. It's not natural. It's not natural.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's people. It's the people business. It's all about connecting, and it can be really messy when you're dealing with people and you're trying to connect people, because not everybody wants to connect. Not everybody wants to play nice.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out how to stay on the high road and not step off that and start getting involved in all the other negative stuff. But yeah, I think, and you're going to be a natural fit for it. That's why we brought you in, because I think that people connected with you, people still connect with you. Your story resonates with them. Your energy is contagious for people. And it's only going to help us expand the community and reach more people. And people, like every company out there, is simply a reflection of the people that make it what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Me too.
With you.
Me too.
And Mark. And everybody else on the team. So we should probably jump out because we actually do have work to do today. Is there anything else you wanted to throw out there before we carry on?
Still happy to be here.
No, it's great.
It's been great.
It is great. You jumped right in.
Yeah.
As I would have expected. If you had not, then we'd be like, hey, you good? Is everything all right? But yeah, you're crushing it. You just got to keep doing what you're doing.
I will.
You're next.
Oh, sure.
Get ready.
I'm so ready for it.
Over and out.